The woodpecker packed it. Yeah. Okay, good.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
everybody. Good to see you all. I
Hey,
think we're live. Are we live? Yes, we are. Good to see Ann and Susan. Hey, Aaron. Sarah's here. Jade. Look at all these awesome people. Let me get a little group view going on here. Get my group view on. Look at all of these beautiful people. Rosemary, good to see you. Glad you're here, Francis. Patricia's there somewhere in her blurry background. Crystal, always a pleasure. Mindy, one of our
Especially
resident
your hand.
scholars here with us. Scott. Hey, Rich, good to see you. Catherine, Millicent, welcome. All right, good times. So
Yeah.
welcome to another thrilling week here in the low-hanging system, you guys. John Lavenia at your service, as is typical. Let me go ahead and mute the mics. Got a little bit of background noise. Exciting to get things going this week. We've got a lot going on, as I think you guys know, including some new members, lots of new members who've been getting started. It seems like with this whole January, new year, new opportunity, new beginnings, it is all coming together because we've had a great influx of new members. So if you're new here, this is your first time, welcome to you. We get together here Monday through Friday just to talk about life and business and your role in it. So just before we went live, I got to hear a couple people talking about some of the course material and looking for a specific data on this or that. We do have, I will say, we do have people who are rather helpful inside the Facebook group. So this group, if you're a member here listening to this, then you've got a Facebook group where you can go in, and that is searchable, right? Where you can, everybody know how to do that on Facebook, where you click the little magnifying glass thing and you search for keywords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hello from Germany, glad you're here. And that could be Australia or Austria, you never know. Hey, Karen, good to see you. But the idea there that you could spend a lot of time looking for stuff, that's not optimal. In fact, I've heard that most people spend half their time just looking for stuff. So I don't know if that's a reality for you. I hope not. But hey, where's my keys? Hey, where's my phone? Hey, where's my this? Where's my that? That is not an optimal way to approach business or life, I think. But which is why I like order. I like stuff exactly in its spot, so I don't have to look for stuff. But anyway, once again, welcome to our brand new members. Our daily success call is here for you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that in a general sense, because I know we've got a lot of new members that are coming in and experiencing not just the course material for the first time, but the community for the first time. And so I wanted to talk about that just to give you some perspective today. And then I'd love to open it up, and as we always do, and hear your thoughts on all this. We've got a lot of different people here. A lot of different people that have come from different backgrounds. They have different goals. Some of us are looking to, let's say, replace or exceed our current income or some other business. Some of us might just be looking for like a part-time supplemental kind of a thing. Some people are looking for something creative they can do, maybe with a family member, children. My daughter, who's 11 years old, has a custom, I wouldn't say print on demand, not at the scale that you guys are learning to do it, but she's into crafting and art fair kind of tabletop sales, and she's got a website and all that too. So that could be a fun thing to do, to engage, let's say, a younger generation into something productive that they can do with their creativity. And then we also have people who have had success in business before, and some who have, seemingly, well, I was just looking at their statistics, they haven't gotten a pleasing result. They've tried this or that. They've experimented with other things. They've enrolled in courses, let's say, but the results were lackluster, and so they're looking at something else they can do. So no matter what, whether this is your first entrepreneurial experience ever, which I talked to somebody just today, one of our new members, this is their first entrepreneurial experience ever. All they've ever done was work jobs. Okay. Or if you're on the other side of the spectrum where, this is like your 25th, enterprise, and you've already got 2 or 3 running. And so whatever the background is, when we come here, we are engaging in a new form of, obviously, methods, right, training, but also with a perhaps a new perspective on doing business online in the first place. When you think about the whole, in the age of COVID, all right, I'll call it that, in the age of COVID, where a lot of people for the first time were forced, if they're going to work and be productive, were forced to do that from remote locations or using Zoom, like we're talking on Zoom right now, or whatever the logistical or structural changes were that had to be implemented. They were sort of thrown in the deep end with that. In fact, I got to experience that a few times when my daughter, we're going back to when she was 9, 10, okay, but she was, enrolled in school, and then school went online, right? And the teachers didn't know how to use Zoom. And it was a disaster. Okay, there was all kinds of, we're going to use Zoom, everybody. And yeah, there was a bit of random stuff. The communication wasn't the main thing. Trying to figure out technology was the main thing. Okay, and I remember when that happened, because I've been online for so long doing business from wherever I feel like it. There's that location freedom that we speak of, right? So I was like, well, why can't they just click the button? I mean, I can give them a tutorial on how to do this. Okay, well, that's not my place to do that. So they're going to figure that stuff out. Hopefully by now they have. But the idea that we were engaging in new methods and new technologies, a lot of times is the thing that consumes a lot of people's attention. Like, wow, I've got to learn these methods, these technologies. And yes, you do, and you will, but I'd say that there's a bigger game afoot. A bigger game. And that's what I wanted to talk with you a little bit about here today. Whether you're brand new in business or you've had other experiences, pleasing or not. Okay. The bigger game, the bigger consideration is now that you're your own boss, are you, a couple of ways I could ask this. Are you properly managing yourself? Or are you a good boss? I guess would be one way to ask that. And you can all do your own assessments on there. I may give you a couple of points that you could quantify and say, yeah, this is good, this is bad, that's in, that's out. But think about this. If all you've ever done up to this point is punch a clock at the job, like that's been your reality. And you signed up for that, by the way. Nobody held a gun to your head. You said, I want a job. And they said, you're hired, right? And then from that point forward, you did the job. Okay. And you were told, here's the schedule, and here's the actions that need to be done, and here's the production that needs to happen for you to be on post here in this job. Okay. So at that point, you were what? You were subjected to an agenda, which you did not originate, and managerial corporate structure and what have you, right? And so here's your post, and it's defined by those above, or those who came before you, who hopefully did a good job. And here's all that's involved in manning that post. Great. Okay. Let's say you went on like that for a while, and you got grooved in and you got good, and you could start going on autopilot with some stuff. Okay. In fact, you could even slack off in some areas because you knew those areas you could slack off in. But then the manager comes and says, oh, hey, we need you to step it up in this area. Right. So in other words, you had another, right? Here's someone else, not you, telling you, here's what's good and right for you to do at this time. Hopefully you got good instruction. I know a lot of times one of the reasons people seek entrepreneurship, home-based business and all that is because they've had it with being told what to do by someone who probably isn't qualified to give them words. I could tell you guys, there was a job that I had, funny story. So, as some of you know, I used to be a diesel mechanic. I was a diesel engineer on a tugboat fleet in New York Harbor, where I was part of a crew. And sorry, we got some background noise there. I was part of a crew, mostly a bunch of middle-aged or elderly drunken sailors who hated their wives. That's most of the scene there. But this is in New York City, and so here I was right out of diesel college, like 20 years old, living on the boats, for weeks at a time with these guys. And so I was a bit of, a little bit out of place with that, but I didn't do it alone, right? There were other people in my midst, like, for example, a captain. They know how to steer the boat. They know how to operate the machinery. I know how to make the machinery run, right? I'm the engineer. Okay, there's other people who know about, other things like where the rocks are in the water and all the stuff that goes into running, an aquatic towing company in this case, docking ships and all this. And I transitioned out of that. I got on land because I couldn't take the boats anymore, drunken sailors. And I was fixing trucks and heavy equipment in New Jersey, and then cars. So I was in this car shop where I was working. It's kind of hard, probably hard for you guys to picture me as a mechanic. Those of you who know me for a little while, especially now that I got my hair cut. Finally, that just happened. Okay, but here I was in this auto shop, fixing people's cars, and the general manager of this auto shop was a drunkard on his third divorce. Life was a mess, right? And here I was taking orders from this guy. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Making pennies too. It was not a high-paying job. Of course, we're going back some decades. And one day I realized, what, I could run this place better than this guy could. There was a guy who would show up once a week to the shop where I worked at, selling tools. Some of you guys know about these tool companies, Snap-on, Matco, Mac, Cornwell, right? They drive around in the big white truck. They sell tools to the mechanics. This guy was looking to get out. I said, well, I'm looking to get in. So my first major transition from employee to entrepreneur, not counting the music business, that was more of a hobby. I don't know, we probably lost money with that. We were doing heavy metal, but the, my first entrepreneurial experience where I was putting, in this case, $100,000 on the table, which I didn't have. Okay. I borrowed money. But here I was buying into a franchise, a tool franchise. And then I was the guy who showed up once a week at that same shop and many other shops. Okay. But I had what? I had gained self-determinism. I was more autonomous, self-governing. Okay. But at one point, because and they have like district managers that kind of oversee and service the franchisees, right? So here's the guy who handles this region, and hey, I need something, right? He's like a manager on the corporate level. And of course, if you bought the franchise, you're also subject to the franchise rules, right? And so this guy happened to be a criminologist in his past life, right? He was into criminal psychology and stuff. So he had a way of finding things. Anyway, I tended, now that I was my own boss, and I was profitable, okay, and I wasn't like the top guy in the company or anything, but I was holding my own. This guy had a tendency to show up whenever I was on lunch break. He could find my truck. Now, granted, it's a big white truck, okay, but still, it's a big area that I cover, and he could find where I was. This is before the age of like cell phones and GPS, guys. We're going back here to the 1900s, okay. He could find my truck, and I would be in Burger King, and this guy would show up and be like, hey, how's your promotions going on, and all this, kind of checking up on me. And so I always kind of felt like I was being watched a little bit, which may have prodded me along a little bit, right? Yes, I'm the boss of my own business, but here's someone who also has attention, another, right? Here's someone who has attention on what I'm doing or not doing. Because look, he gets paid bonuses on my statistics too, right? This is an enterprise here, right? This is capitalism, right? This isn't punch a clock and whatever, do enough to not get fired. So in that scenario, I had to, and I did, take a look at, number one, am I being a good manager of myself? Because now I don't have some boss hovering over me or throwing arbitrary orders at me or do this, do that. Okay. But also, am I barking up the wrong tree? I'm not in that business anymore, by the way. Okay. So in my case, yes, I was barking up the wrong tree. I decided to transition out of that. But the reason I bring these questions up for you is because twofold. Let's say you're brand new here and this is your first time being your own manager. Welcome to entrepreneurship. Okay. For myself, I have revealed that I'm probably the toughest manager I've ever had. uh, that's if you look at people who work, 9 to 5, and then that's it. At 5:01, they're out the door. Okay, I've not managed myself that way. But that brings me to the second question: am I barking up the wrong tree, or is the ladder leaning against the wrong building? The reason I've been the toughest manager that I've ever had is because I've chosen work that I can get passionate about. So again, all of us are coming from all different directions, different backgrounds, different interests. Okay. But if you can channel what you've already got in terms of your own passions, preferences, proclivities into this kind of work, right? If you can build a bridge between that which truly interests you and delivering value to the public, my goodness, you'll manage yourself like into fame and fortune. Yeah, you will. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, you're going to work. And never mind 9 to 5. I don't care what the clock says. You're getting stuff done. Because when we get into that sort of condition, when we start putting our attention on, here's what I'm here to produce because I want to produce that. I want to produce that. Well, now I don't need some boss hovering over me or whatever, right? I look at my own production, my own statistics to decide, when's quitting time or whatever. I bought this ceiling fan, exhaust fan for a bathroom. You guys know what I'm talking about. You go to the toilet and there's the fan that comes on. And the house we just bought, which I'm sitting in right now, had a really noisy bathroom exhaust fan. And I said, when I buy that house, first thing I'm doing is ripping that friggin' thing out of the ceiling and putting a nice one in. Well, it wasn't the first thing I did. It was like the 20,000th thing that I did since we got here a few weeks ago. But I bought the ceiling fan, $180 ceiling fan. And it's got a little light there, right? And I wired up, I put double switches in, and now it's time to change out the ceiling fan. And so bear with me on this anecdote. Okay. And so the crappy old contractor grade 7x8 ceiling fan that was in there, I had to rip that out, got that figured out. Okay. And then I had to open up this hole. I'm not a construction guy. I'm not a contractor. I had to open up this hole to 10 7/8 by 10 7/8 and get the wiring and the ducting and everything to match up and all that. Right. Anyway, I was on this job. This is my weekend project thing. It probably took me 6 hours. Somebody wants a transcript. Let's do this. Now that I'm almost done with my lecture, here's your transcript. But it probably took me 6 hours up and down into the attic. This is supposed to be easy installation, no attic access necessary. Yeah, BS. Okay. So apparently when retrofitting, well, anything goes. Okay. So next thing I knew, it was 10 o'clock at night and I was finishing up this job. Now, if I was on the clock, get the difference here. If I was on the clock, hey, it's job X at customer Y's house and whatever, and no real buy-in, no passion for it, then it would have been, oh, we'll wrap it up tomorrow. You know what? We'll hit it again next week. Just put a tarp over it or something. Yeah, you got a big hole in the ceiling. No, in my case, the gratification was the end product, right? Here's the working, luxurious, quiet bathroom exhaust fan. Okay. And I know it's done right because I did it. Okay. I had to learn a bit in the process. I've never taken a power saw to a ceiling before, but now I can check that one off of the bucket list. But the point is that it got done, and however long it took is how long it took. Can you get lost in time, so to speak, where time just kind of disappears when you're doing your work here? Is there some aspect of your work here that you can do where you kind of lose track of time just because you're after that end product? That's what matters. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill said that you need to develop a white hot obsession. This is what he called desire, the first step to riches. Some of you have read this book. I've read it cover to cover 13 times, every single word, with a dictionary right next to me, just to make sure I'm getting full conceptual understanding of every word the guy's saying. Because I'll tell you what, that book is transformational. But anyway, Think and Grow Rich, first principle out of 13 is desire. Without that, hey, what are we even doing here? So there's something driving you. Hopefully there is something driving you, regardless of your background or everything you've done up to this point, where you can latch onto that and play the bigger game. The bigger game is your own fulfillment with all this. The tool business was familiar to me because I was a mechanic. I know about tools. Let me go sell tools. Okay. But it wasn't like my purpose in life and stuff like that. Or I'll say it this way. I didn't find a way at that point in my own evolution as John, right? I didn't find a way to make that more purposeful for me. I didn't have a passion for it. Okay. What I'm asking you to do, if you're going to be not only the toughest manager you've ever had, but the most beneficial, productive guide, if you will, really a manager manages activities, right? The most productive guide of your own actions. If you're going to do that, well, then find how you can get emotionally involved with the processes that you're engaging in. Yeah, you're going to learn new stuff. That's good. But who's showing up to do it? Hopefully somebody interested. Hopefully somebody who's got some pride in their work, some diligence, right? It's one of Ben Franklin's virtues. You know what? I think we're going to cover that on Wednesday. Ben Franklin's virtues, Wednesday. All right, let's see if that comes up, okay? Because I never know what's going to come out of my mouth until I hear it. But diligence, right? The act of really being involved and doing good work. Diligence comes from the Latin root word diligere, which means to take delight in. To take delight in. How can you take delight in what you're doing? And yeah, I know you got to solve problems too. And I don't want to deal with that. Well, you have to anyway. Okay, fine. Okay. But if there's a bigger picture, if there's a bigger game, if there's a bigger reason, yeah, you're going to do really, really good. Really good. Because now it's not drudgery. Now it's like, hey, I want that end product. That end product is nice, quiet ceiling exhaust fan in my bathroom. Yeah, that's the product. Maybe I'll go show it to you guys. Probably not. You guys want to see my bathroom? No. Okay. Anyway, those are my thoughts for today. And I hope you got something out of that because look, we got brand new people here and you guys deserve to succeed. And we got other people here that this isn't your first rodeo. Let this be the rodeo that puts you on the map and you make your mark. Okay. Otherwise, why bother showing up? Right. Let's get this done. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. You've got some thoughts, please come on out. We can raise hands. And here comes Patricia, the awesome Patricia. Shams, please.
Good morning. John, thank you for this lecture. This is something I've needed. I've been having to fuss at myself lately. I am a great manager. I've managed a lot of different businesses and I was leader and manager in the military, but I suck at managing myself. I mean, I really do. And I myself knows every little trick in the book of how to get out of doing something. But me knows, or I know, that myself has got to get this done. So I've had to go back to tricking my brain again and doing little things like, okay, if you don't do this, you got to go wash clothes. Washing clothes is the most horrible job I could ever think of. I would rather work on a mule's hind end than wash clothes. I mean, wow. I do not like washing clothes.
There's something particularly nasty about your clothes?
No, I just don't like doing it. I don't know what it is. I just don't like washing clothes. It just, maybe it's because my mama made me when I was little. I don't know, but I have pictures. I'll have to show y'all sometime when my room's not so messy, but I have pictures on my wall of all the reasons why I'm doing this. Pictures and sayings and writings and thoughts. And so I'm starting to get better, but basically then I sat down the other day and I said, you don't need all this junk. You just need to get up off your butt and start doing your job. Quit whining, quit moaning, quit making up all this stuff. Everything that you're doing is wasting time. You need to get up and do your job. So that's what I've been doing. I've been setting aside a certain amount of time every day at the same time. So when that time hits, no matter what I'm doing, I have to sit down and start doing my work. And I have a certain amount of hours. I've been having my cat had kittens and 3 of them died last night. So that was kind of really bad, but I've been having that kind of situation going on, and so I, even though that's happening, I my hair went crazy, sorry. I'm still having to put that aside and do my job when my job comes up. I asked myself, could you call in and say, I can't come to work because I'm sad today? No, can't do that. And so if you work for yourself, I'm the strictest boss. Like you said, I'm my strictest boss, and I don't let myself out of, so that, but it took me a while to get back into that thought process, I guess.
Okay.
So I really needed to hear this again. That reinforces my thoughts. So thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. This was just for you, and everybody else got to listen in. Actually, it was just for me. You got to listen in.
Wasn't it nice? Yeah.
There's 3 ways to handle laundry. All right, is what my wife prefers, which is the wash and fold down the street. Okay,
Yeah.
So there's number 1. Way number 2 would be to do something pleasing while you do the unpleasing activity. So earbuds, audiobooks. No?
Jack
Okay.
Daniels.
Okay, got it.
No, I don't drink.
Right. Way number 3 is to make it brief. So I have a piece of furniture that has drawers and bins. Okay. And I decided I don't want a hamper because one of the bins inside this piece of furniture it's just like a pull-out bin. Okay. And it's the right size for a medium to large size load of laundry. And so when that bin fills up, I take the bin out of the furniture, I bring it to the laundry machine, I throw it all in there, all of it. Okay. And all I wear is black and blue jeans and stuff. So it's not like, oh, I did the whites. Oh, this is that. No. Right.
Yeah.
And so I throw it in there. I start, right. It was done. I hang the shit up and I'm done. One load at a time only. Okay.
That's a great way of doing it.
With method 2, while I'm hanging the laundry, I mean, throwing the stuff in the machine takes 10 seconds, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But while hanging the laundry, then I'm listening to my audio books or heavy metal or whatever I feel like, right? But before I know it, it's done. How long does it take to hang, 5 shirts, fold 3 pairs of underwear? What, 7 minutes or something? My goodness, before I could talk myself out of it, it's done. Method 3, or method 1, wash and fold, you're done. Okay. Love you, Patricia.
My method is let Steve do it when he comes home.
All right. So Steve, that's method 4. Steve, it's called.
He loves doing laundry.
Slave labor. Very good. That's method 4. All right, Scott, you're up, buddy.
Yes. Morning, John. Good morning, everyone. I think what seems to be happening here is that we're distinguishing between 2 different things: the process and the goal. I think the process is never something that will be intrinsically, or it may or may not be intrinsically passionate. You can't guarantee that. And like I've said before in different contexts, I wouldn't trust your feelings as far as I can throw them, because feelings can be so random and so often based on past programming in your life. So I wouldn't rely on them. I think the other thing is you can focus on the process, or you can process on the goal. I think if you process on a goal, that will give you the passion you need. And even if you don't like the process, eventually the process, whether you like it or not, will become meaningless. For example, a good example is World War II. A lot of guys were at the front, and World War I too, but certainly World War II. A lot of the guys were involved in the war, and women had to man the factories. They had to come and work in the factories and work in the war munitions places and do all the things that men used to do. And always the idea was, well, we're contributing to the war effort. That's why we're doing it. So it didn't matter what they did. All that mattered was the goal of contributing to the war effort and making sure that the guys came home. That's all they were concerned about. And I think it's the same with any goal. You focus on the goal, the passion will come. And if it's something if the process is something you absolutely hate or despise, I mean, and remember, these women were leaving the kids sometimes. They were leaving, the change in their lives was radical, because in those days, a woman's place was absolutely in the home, taking care of her family and her children, and that was a precious and very important thing. It still is, of course, but certainly even more so then. And so for them, there was a radical change. But always the goal came first. We're contributing to the war effort. We're going to make sure we're going to help our boys come home because we're going to provide the weapons, the planes, munitions, whatever they need to get home. And same way with this goal, you have a goal, whatever it is. Doesn't really matter what it is. And how to eventually becomes irrelevant. And if you can enjoy it, great. But certainly the acid, the distaste, the dislike of any process fades away in the light of a very powerfully held goal. I think it's a factor of your focus. I've always said that it's your focus on the goal that defines everything else you do in the process as being basically either enjoyable or irrelevant. Either way, you pass through it quickly because all you see is the goal. And if that's the focus, then you'll always make it. And you will change to be the person who achieves that goal in whatever ways you have to change. I think that's very significant. And also nothing to, I think a lot of times passion comes from this focus on the goal, but sometimes your ability to focus, if that is enhanced, that can make you more passionate. For example, if you change your diet, if you exercise, if you meditate, if you do physical things to unclutter your brain, you find a lot of passions, a lot of things that are important to you will bubble to the surface because there's no clutter in your head. And that ability to focus, I think, is still a pivotal concept in achieving success in this or anything, because you'll learn, you'll acquire the efficiencies, or whatever attributes you need, you will acquire, because nothing is as important as the goal. Once you focus on that enough, everything is under the umbrella of the goal. And that's all you see. You don't see beyond that umbrella. You just see that umbrella, and that's fine if that gets you to your goal. And you can't possibly imagine what that goal will mean to you. You have an idea of what you want from the goal and how it will feel, but you will never know what it's really like to have that goal until you're there. And so waiting for those feelings to come, a waste of time. Just focus on the goal. And those feelings will come, they'll grow, they'll develop. Your excitement about the goal will develop. That, to me, that's just focusing on the goal is the key here. Absolutely the key.
Thank you. Thank you again, Scott. Yeah, I wanted that fan installed, right? That's all I could think about. and it got done. And I had to learn some stuff and I had to change some methods. Beautiful. Hey, we got Alec and Carlos. Welcome, Carlos. And then we got Scott, the other Scott. Hey, Alec, what's going on with you? Let's get you out here and then we'll go to Carlos. Alec. Come on, Alec. You've been here long enough. You know how to unmute your microphone. Let's do it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, this is actually one of those times where, sorry, Scott, but where I might actually disagree with Scott on the sense that I know, I'm sorry, but he was talking about, setting your mind on the goal, and then your feelings will develop over time. And I don't feel that's exactly true, because I do feel like okay, even though I have my mind set on a certain goal, my feelings are never gonna develop if I'm going after something that I don't want to go after. Like, I know I have a goal in mind, but getting to that goal, to me, does not feel like I have to go down that road. Like, why can't I just take the detour? Why can't I do this? Now, the goal is actually not in a lot of people's head, and not in a lot of people's heads, excuse me. They just want to, the goal that I feel for many people is just to be happy. It's sure, okay, that's your goal, but most of the time people aren't thinking about, hey, well, I want to make $1 million, so let me go do something that I completely hate why can't you just do something that you completely love and let the goal develop from that, as opposed to vice versa? Setting a goal and then letting your feelings develop along the way. Why can't you just do something that you want to do, and then, hey, your goal just might happen. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But the entire process of actually doing something that you want to do, I would think, is the goal that you're going for.
Let me jump in on that, Alec, because you're bringing up an interesting dichotomy, and we only have a little bit of time left. But there's production, and then there's methods. And while there is joy in the journey, as the cliche goes, okay, that is something where personally, for myself as a goal achiever, I've had to remind myself to enjoy the journey, because sometimes I just get obsessed with the end result, the done, right? I love done. Okay,
Yes.
well, how about all the process in getting to done? You guys remember when we first met, some of you, this is very recent, I gave you a quote from Albert E.N. Gray, his common denominator of success. Some of you may remember. Anyway, he said the common denominator of success is that successful people have formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. They form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. And it's not because they're lucky, they just like doing these things. They may not like doing them either, but they subordinated their preferences for pleasing or unpleasing methods to the goal. So the purpose was higher than their preferences or proclivities for this or that method. In that way, yes, I would definitely say with Scott, yes, Scott, we got to focus on, here's the product, here's the end result. Okay. Now, if the methods suck and it's drudgery and you hate it, then you're barking up the wrong tree, let's say. But an educated person, this is according to Napoleon Hill, an educated person is not a person who's accumulated a lot of specialized or general knowledge. An educated person is a person who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they can acquire anything they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. That's an educated person. One who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they can acquire anything they want or its equivalent, so that's a done, okay, without violating the rights of others. So some stuff to consider there. I'm not saying this just to Alec, but everybody, some stuff to consider. All right, we got to wrap up here pretty soon, but Carlos has had his hand up. Thank you, Alec, for being here. Carlos, who I just met today. Carlos, man of many talents and soon to have many more.
Yes.
What say you?
Always learning. Well, one of the talents I don't know I do have, be brutally honest, I don't know if I'm going to be a good self-manager. I know I'm a good self-employee. So that's number one. I don't know if I'm going to be a good self-boss. So evaluating that minute by minute, moment by moment. So I'm totally, truthful about myself and where I need to learn, and congratulate myself, where I'm doing good. But what I wanted to say was I'm so thankful for Scott for what he said, but I just kind of want to add another nuance to it. I believe myself to be a tremendously focused person. Scott talked about goals. So in a 9-to-5 where I've always wanted my own job, I know that my employer will set those goals for me. Right now, to be focused on the goals, there's actually two separate things here that I'm looking at. Now, my employer or my job set my goals at my 9-to-5. My business that I'm starting here together with everyone, that job, that business that I own can and will also set my goals. But will I be able to independently set my goals and will the needs of my company set my goals, or will I set my goals independently of the needs of my company and direct, the motivation and the nucleus for being focused and moving forward? I'm very focused and keen on where those goals are really going to come from and what are the goals how I'm going to be formulating it. Am I going to be responding just as I respond to my 9 to 5 to, mine, or will I be able to well and efficiently develop my own goals? Don't know the answer yet. Stay tuned. Same bad channel, same bad time.
That's great. Welcome. That's Carlos, everybody. He's fun. He's a fun guy. And I don't mean a fungus. I mean a fun guy. All right. Very good, you guys. Hey, let's wrap up with that. We'll be back here tomorrow, of course, with Karen. Typically, there's a meeting after the meeting. I don't know if you guys are doing that today. By the way, if I'm not here, then it's a free for all. Just so you guys know, it's a free for all, and I don't endorse or deny anything. Whatever happens in here happens. Kind of like Vegas. What happens here stays here. I don't know.
Girl, pop the beer.
Yeah, there you go.
Pop the beer.
You guys have a great rest of your day or night, or depending on your time zone. I'll be back here with you real soon. In the meantime,